All right, today on my banner is a Friday, and we're definitely doing relationships. Don't you miss it? Well, I do. We're talking temperaments in relationships, and my guest is Pastor Tony NML. He's with the Agape Temple International Central Gospel Church, and he's here to talk on this subject with us. Good morning to you, Pastor.
Good morning.
Is this something that you discuss when you're counseling people?
It is a major feature in our counseling programs, because you are dealing with human beings, and it is part of our nature. We are born with it, you know. But there is something that we all need to understand, that temperament is fundamentally based on two things: communication and actions. Your words, your deeds, what you say and what you do. Basically, your actions and your inactions, all these put together forms a person's personality or temperament.
But does it matter in relationships?
It does, but not absolute.
Okay. So what do you have to know about somebody's temperament, for instance?
For instance, cholerics, you know.
Which groups
we
fall into?
We have four temperaments. The choleric, the sanguine, and phlegmatic with melancholy. And further down is broken into two categories: the extroverts and the introverts. The extroverts are the cholerics and the sanguines, and the introverts are the melancholies and the phlegmatic. And so one thing we need to understand when it comes to personality types is that no one individual has one dominant, or can say, I'm a choleric. You can't observe a person and say that this person is a choleric.
Okay, but you can't say this person is an extrovert.
You can say is an extrovert. You know, you can say that, but before you can confidently say that a person is a choleric.
Okay, so let me just ask you, who is a choleric? What are the traits?
The traits, they are born leaders.
Okay.
We call them the drivers. They are very controlling people. You know, they are very organized, and they thrive on opposition.
Okay. So they're like lawyers. Okay, no, I mean, that's the
You know,
extreme.
not every lawyer is.
Yeah.
You know, but if we should run a personality test, you realize that the person you think is a choleric is probably a melancholy. You know, so it varies, and most of the time we don't have 100% natural temperament. Some schools of thought have it that you can have 30 nature, 70 nurture, or 40 nature, 60 nurture. But I'm of the view that nature is a partnership. So when a person is born with these personality traits, the environment within which he grows has a way of coaching your born innate abilities, your innate personalities, to become what you want to become. So for instance, a guy may be phlegmatic.
Okay, and then you have to explain that.
Phlegmatics are family oriented.
Okay.
They are very relaxed, very calm, very reserved people, as it is introverted, very shy kinds of people. But if they find themselves in a choleric environment, it has an influence on that. So you have that person, though a phlegmatic, he comes out to be a leader, to be very organized, because he has picked the traits.
Yeah.
So at a point when you are in a relationship with that person, you would realize that today he's reserved, but another time he's out and going. At another point, he's not family sensitive. At another point, he is family sensitive. In that case, you have to run the personality test, and when you go to Legon, it's done there.
Oh, you can run a personality test.
Sure.
That's interesting. How? What sort of process is that?
We leave that to the clinical psychologists. They do that. If you go to Legon, the psychology department, you can have it done so that you know who you are.
Okay.
So that you don't just read through some books and say, okay, I'm a choleric, based on the characteristics that has been displayed there. You don't base on it, because when you have run the test, you realize that, okay, I am dominantly a choleric, I'm dominantly a melancholy, you know, yeah.
Okay, so now you've explained two of the characters to us. Can we get the rest of it? I guess the sanguine. The
sanguine, they are good for the stage. They make good MCs because they are fun-loving. They love pleasure. They want to be at the center of everything, but they are poor listeners. If you are talking to a typical sanguine is talking to you, they are tactile, you know, they love to be touched. So if you are talking to a typical sanguine, they would always want to hold or touch you to get your attention, you know. They make a very happy home. Sanguines make
because women love persons like that. Is that it? Is that why I would say, because they are touchy, but they are not very good listeners?
They are not very good listeners. They are not very good listeners, but they are tactile, they are outgoing, they want to be at the center of everything. You want to tell a story to somebody. Perhaps you have given a gist to the sanguine. He will take the story and tell it. Very exaggerative. Because they go to watch maybe an event and they come and say, oh, Mama V says, can you tell me what happened? They would say it and add on exaggeratively. No, that's the sanguine.
Okay.
And the males, the melancholies are very, very reserved. And they keep record of hurts.
Okay. That's dangerous.
Absolutely. They keep records of hurt. So if you offend a melancholy, and you even say that I'm sorry, forgive me, it's been recorded. Do another thing another time, they will play it back and begin avoiding you. You know, but they are very organized, very detailed people. So if you are, it's not absolute, but let's say it, if a sanguine and melancholy, you know, pair, often is a good pair. Is a good pair between a choleric and a phlegmatic. You understand? Because of the opposite natures. But one of them is detailed, the other person is not detailed. Let's say the phleg and the male. Male are detailed driven. So if you're giving a melancholy an information, they keep asking you a follow-up question. If you are not used to them, you get irritated because they don't take scanty information. Sure. So a man will say, the lady is too nosy, she wants to know everything, but that's their nature. And in a relationship, if you know that this is how the guy is, this is what his personality is, that is who he is, you have a little problem. You know, but if you don't know him, perhaps he's just being him, and you think that he's been a nuisance, but if you know his personality traits, the characteristics that he's embodied with, you know that, okay, this is how I handle the person. But if you don't know, you will always struggle.
So what is the thing to do? I mean, if you're in a relationship or you want to get into a relationship with somebody with a certain personality traits, and you're not too comfortable with it, I mean, is it something that you can change with time? You
know, as a pastor, this is what I would say. Everybody, there's no good temperament as far as the fallen state of man is. And so you can change because it has to do with nature. The moment you find yourself in a particular environment, gradually you will begin to change. And so if, for instance, if a guy is, for instance, the cholerics, even when they go out on a date with a lady, they never talk about anything fun. It's business. As they sit and eat, they are talking about the next business thing, how he wants to do this.
Are they selfish? Or they appear to be?
At a point, they are. Because if you are really working with, they are insensitive sometimes. Because if you are really dealing with them, what happens is that they are success at all cost minded people. So if this person falls and there's another person I can run with, they don't care about you. They put you aside and run with this person, you know, because of they are goal-oriented. So if you take him or her out on a date and you begin to talk about your shoe and the last dinner you went and all those things, for him, every little moment is to discuss a business.
So he's always looking for an opportunity.
An opportunity.
So how do you make your relationship work? I mean, if you are with such a person, do you let the person know that these are the things that you do and I'm not too comfortable with it?
Absolutely, absolutely. But if you're not sure of the person's temperament, it's good you, in this part of our country, side of the world, we rarely run a personality test. But when you have...
And I'm hearing it for the first time, personality test.
There is. If you go to Legon, it will be done. Any clinical psychologist can do it.
So why would I want to do this? Is it because I want to better appreciate who I am and who my partner is?
Yes, and you know, it helps you. For instance, if you come to my office, for instance, and I'm looking for people to do certain things, I know where to put a sanguine. I would rather have a sanguine at the front desk.
Okay.
Rather than put a male at your front desk, she may end up driving out all your clients because they have mood swings. And when it's not good for them. I don't like
people, I mean, I don't, okay, I'm not saying hate, I don't like people like that.
If you put a typical sanguine there, and the customer
would
walks in,
be smiling.
People would want to come because of her, because she's smiley, she's giving you all the attention, she's talking to you, she doesn't want you to feel bored. Have you had some water? Do you care for a cup of coffee? But a male would say, sit there and even forget about you. And when you try to call her attention to you, she will make you feel that you are doing something, you know. So it's good, even in organizations as yours, you know who should be where.
Sure.
You know, who should ask the questions, who should be at the front desk, who should be at the levels of control, because you need a strong choleric to drive things home. Otherwise, if you put a flag, they are very relaxed. Once they get one thing done, they need to be re-motivated, you know. So you need to know who is where, who does what, and who is calling their shots.
In your, you know, daily or your counseling sessions, or as a pastor, I know that issues come to you. Are there issues that you link to temperament, people's temperaments?
A lot of them. A lot of them. For instance, last week a couple visited me, and clearly they are at the both sides of the extreme, introvert, extrovert, but they don't know whether this is a male or a phleg and choleric or sanguine, but they are always having issues. So observing them, it wasn't that they had real problems. This one will say that the whole issue is that the lady put something on the shelf. The man came to pick it and didn't put it back, you know. So that was the issue. The man feels that the woman is nagging, but if you look closely at her, you realize that it is a personality trait. So after speaking to them and chronicling events that had taken place in the past and comparing it to the current, I realized that she is very organized and the man is disorganized. So if you want to always live with that person, meet her or him up halfway.
Sure.
You know,
learn to do things that would make her happy,
absolutely.
and you learn to do things that will make him happy. But that's, I mean, it's easy to say, but very difficult to do. It means that you should always be conscious of what you're doing, and that cannot be possible at all times.
I don't think you're going to be conscious of what you're doing, but it is an environment, you see. So once you have, if you really want it to work, it is just about, some believe 30, 40, 36, 70 and all that. So if you really want it to work, you allow the environment, the people. That's why you have to be in some kind of association, some kind of a friendship, a group that have varying or varied personality types, so that as you keep the relationship with them, they rub on you, you learn from them, you pick certain traits, you know. If, for instance, I have a combination of a choleric and a phlegmatic.
Okay.
You know, and so when.
But you don't appear to be that.
Yes, that's the irony of it, because you meet a person today, he's all out, laughing and jumping. At another point, you see him and he's doing something that is contradictory to the person you met for the first time. So you go like, is this the guy? Is this the guy we are dealing with? We need to know that it has to do with the mind.
It has to do with the mind.
Mind.
Okay. It means that you can readjust it.
You can. With the help of your, once you go to see a clinical psychologist and they run the test and they see who you are. Perhaps you've been living a lie all this while because you don't even know who you are. And so when you hear people talk about, you have to know who you are.
I'm sorry to be so rude, I would have to cut you. We'll continue with this. But this morning, the happenings now, or this morning has been the fire outbreak at Acquah, and the head of the fire service is now talking to the media. So we'll listen to it and come back to studio.
The issue about water, we all know about the water situation. And currently, around this vicinity, there is no water, so the hydrants are dry. So they have to go as far as 37 Military Hospital to replenish before they come back here. So they have to travel a distance to go and replenish. And the fire is not waiting for us to.
All right, so we do apologize. We've been off with the connection, but we'll bring you back that speech by the head of the National Fire Service, who's talking to the media. But I just want to wrap things up with you, Pastor Tony, on this temperament issue. Going forward, would you say that if you're dating someone, even before you get into marriage, or perhaps you're in it already, and you realize that you're two different persons altogether, how do you bring it all together?
The first thing I would say is that if you're having a difficulty or you are two different people, breakup is not warranted, because it is here we hear the word compatibility and incompatibility.
But if you're not compatible with someone, what can you do?
We have never been compatible. We have never been, there's nothing like, we have never been. By our raising, parenting, the environment we grew up in. I was born in Ezongo. My wife comes from Dansoma, some very nice place. And so her beliefs, her values, her personality is different from mine. So there's no way we can be compatible, but we learn to live together. So you can have a bossy husband, a controlling husband, you learn to live with him. You know, you don't, it is not a ground. It is not a ground. Yes, you have a different personality types, but that is not a ground for you to say, we are different, so let's go our separate ways. That's why from the beginning I said, these are there, but they are not absolute. Because our fathers never had these personality test thing. But they were able to live together, you know. As a matter of you knowing that if the man is the head, let him be the head.
Okay.
And let's play the roles we are called to play, and everything will be fine.
I guess that's why you say nature and nurture. All right, but I'm grateful for your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so that will be it for my banner. I'll come back with Roland and wrap the AM show all up.
I know my temperament.
But where'd you fall?
I know.
Are you on and off?
No, I think that you know, sometimes you can be 60% Sanko, and then you can be male like 40%, or somebody.
So you're like a mixture.
Yeah, I think I have that. You know, I can be in the room the whole day. I don't mind. Yeah, I can decide to ignore you sometimes. I think 30% of the time.
You can be rude sometimes.
Yeah, I can be sarcastic.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's good that you know yourself.
Yeah, I know myself.
Yeah. All right, but it's your birthday today. Mrs. Margaret Asso Ajimai, from your husband, Honorable Kwejuba Ajiman, and it's a happy birthday to you as you celebrate your birthday today, Margaret Asso Ajiman. Enjoy your birthday.
Okay, and you're not feeling well, you're a bit under the weather. Alfred Nyakon, you are the Human Resource Manager of Road Safety Management Services Limited, a subsidiary of the Jospon Group of Companies. A very good morning to you, and I hope you have a very nice time convalescing at home.
Did you enjoy your conversation with Dr. Richard Anani?
Yes, I did. I did.
All right. Okay, so you know the breaking news story today, the fire at the Makola, the TS. We're still following that closely. We'll bring you more on that in terms with updates on News Desk later on this morning. Okay, so that'll be it on the AM show, which is always live on the Joynews channel of Multi TV. My name is Roland Walker. And my name is Mama Vio Wuswabwaji. Enjoy your Friday and enjoy every bit of the weekend. We'll see you, God willing, here on Monday. Bye-bye.